Hello and welcome. Thank you for watching. Please hit subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, so my videos will come up on your YouTube page when I make new ones. And I want to thank all the new subscribers that have come on board. And you can also follow me on the Facebook at the Universal Life Church of Massachusetts. Today I have a topic that was brought to me. It's a spiritual topic of chakras. And one of my viewers asked me a question, and it was a good time to do a video on chakras because it's important. And there are different religions around the world have different explanations for what these are. Not the chakras, but like the Kundalini and the chakras are an explanation of the same thing. And what it's all about is our emotions. Now, let's start from the beginning. What are chakras? Now, you will see, if you look up online, a picture of like a human body with these points of light, red, yellow, green, blue, purple, in the center of their body that are glowing. Some have flowers, different symbols. And a lot of people don't know what that means, what this all means. And when they don't, they make fun of it. And people that laugh about the chakras and this stuff are simply laughing because they don't know what it means. And they actually take it literally, like there is a energy point in the body that is green that glows. If you cut the body open, you'll see it. No, that's not what a chakra is. So I'm going to explain what they are so we can try to get through and past some of the ignorance that is out there about this topic. Chakras are your emotional state. And the different chakras, that's all it is. And the different chakras in your body are a representation of the emotional state. They put these points in different locations because they are felt there, or there is emotions linked to those points of the body. So you can't cut somebody open and find a chakra in them, an energy point. It's not like that. It's psychological. It's in our mind. So that's where we have to start and understand that these are about our emotions and our psyche. And I'm going to get into each one of them and the mindset and the emotions and the psyche that is involved. That way you can figure out where you are. Now, the chakras idea is a psyche and emotional growth. It starts at the bottom and rises. All right? This is not something that fluctuates too much, and somebody has the crown chakra lit, but their root chakra isn't. That's not how it works. Generally, it works. It's an emotional scale from where we start, which is at the root chakra. And this is a survival. These are the emotions that come with survival. What you need. And fear is in there. Because you fear not having food and shelter and water. And you need to survive. And it's in a desperate emotion. And everybody's root chakra is, I can't say everybody, but most people, 99% of people, their root chakra is open because they're surviving, they're living, and they're alive. And if you get stuck, and this is the only chakra you ever open, there will be a lot of fear, suffering in your life, a lot of insecurities and trust issues, because the root chakra is just the most primal emotions. It is the basic. It's where you start. You're supposed to grow from there. And we need to grow. So we got to get out of the root chakra. And jealousy. If you're in relationships and there's a lot of jealousy, hatred for other people, rage at times, and you want revenge, and you're angry, and you get in arguments a lot in your relationships, you're stuck in your root chakra. Now, unfortunately, men get stuck in, there's a lot of men, not all men, but there's a lot of men that get stuck in their root chakra because they're told when they're growing up to not have emotions. They're not, don't be human. They're told not to be human, to be this some other thing that Hollywood created. About what a man should be, and you're supposed to have a gun and run around and shooting people and be violent and angry and be a misogynist and be over-sexualized. This is where, in the root chakra, these are the emotions that are in the root chakra. And that's why a lot of men get stuck there. The next one up, generally, the root chakra is generally represented as red. The colors have something to do with it, but I'm not going to get into them right now because color is important. It's different spectrums of light. And red is hot. It's light. It's the hot side of the spectrum, we'll say. The next one up is the sacral, or the sex chakra, and this is the next level up. That if you open this one up, now you're not going to have so much rage, so much anger, and generally right here is where the women generally start and get stuck. These bottom two chakras are where all men and women start. I mean, everybody has the root chakra open, and almost all women have the sacral or the sexual chakra open, because these emotions are a little more creative and they're more in line with the left brain. Right brain, if you know what that means. These are emotions of the female and male energy. And the women will generally start out in that second chakra of emotions because they're not as angry or as violent or argumentative or vengeful. But there is still jealousy and blame and worry. These emotions are abundant in this second chakra when you only have those two open. And we need to get out of just the overwhelmment and the disappointment and the worry and the doubt and the blame and the anger, and all these negative emotions are held down here in these two chakras. And you'll have a lot of them in your life because it's built, all these two chakras down the bottom are built on selfishness. And the more selfish you are, the more of these emotions you will have. So you got to get out of that. That brings us up into the solar plexus. And here's where your power starts to open up. This is the power. The solar plexus is just below the heart, just under the rib cage. And this is where, and the reason we pick these parts of the body is, you know, the sex, you pick the sexual part of the body, and the root chakra where you begin is down the bottom. And the highest point in the third eye chakra represents this pineal gland. So there are connections, as you will see. So anyway, the third one, which is generally a yellow, solar plexus, solar like the sun, is where you start to let the light in. When you open up this third chakra, the solar plexus, you start to let the light in. And that's where gratefulness begins and selflessness begins. When you start to let go of selfishness. And the reason you do that is because when you realize that selfishness is not beneficial to you, it has nothing to do with what selfishness does to other people. This is the big confusion. Some people think, oh, selfish people are bad because they harm other people. Well, they may, but that's not why it's bad. Selfishness creates psychological problems which cause you suffering. And all the anger and hatred and revenge and jealousy and all these negative emotions are caused by this selfishness. All the blame and the discouragement, all those negative emotions are caused by selfishness. And when you open up the solar plexus, this is the beginning of gratefulness, being grateful for what you do have and not caring about what other people think. And then we have to proceed further. Now, a lot of people, this is about as far as they get. Those three chakras. A big portion of society is stuck there, about 30%. My guess, just winging it. It may be just my opinion. The next one is the heart chakra, the love chakra. And when we open this chakra, we actually care. We have empathy for other people. And anger goes away. You don't get angry anymore. You may get a little bit, you may get frustrated, but the revenge and this jealousy and this hatred, when you open up your heart chakra, you realize empathy. You understand the emotions and the other chakras underneath the ones. So that understanding gives you a better perspective. And once you open up this heart chakra, the fourth one, it is a milestone, and you do not go back. It is a point of no return. And this is the point of no return. The first one, there are two. This is the very first point of no return. Once you open up your heart chakra, you have empathy for other people. This is a green colored representation. And you can have a lot of contentment in the emotions associated with this contentment and hopefulness. You are now on the positive side. Once you get the heart chakra open, you are now on the positive side of the energy. The solar plexus is the last chakra with certain emotions that are mild, like pessimism and boredom, and you're in this area where you're not angry, but you're not content. Once you open up the heart chakras, gratefulness and being content, this comes with it's a very important point, because this comes to the point where you're not competing with other people anymore. You see yourself as an individual, and you're not in the so much in the materialistic world that you're trying to keep up with the Joneses anymore. Your opinion, you respect yourself now. Your opinion, you found love for yourself, and you can't give love to anybody else until you have it. And this fourth chakra is where a lot of people need to if you have trouble in your relationship, this is the one where it needs to be opened, because you've got to find love in yourself, because if you don't have love, you can't give it. Love is something that is given, not taken. You can receive love, but love is not a taking thing. Love is something you have. You either have love or you don't. You don't need anybody else in your life to have love. This is a misconception about what love is. Love is something that is a mindset, and you've reached this heart chakra, and you now have love. When you have that, then you can give it to somebody else. And this is why a lot of relationships have a problem, because neither of them have love, and they're trying to take it from the other person. So that's an important point right there at the heart chakra. Moving up to the next one is the throat chakra. Now we're moving on. Now we've come to enthusiasm. You have a lot of opinions. The throat chakra, you're going to speak, because now you respect yourself. You have love for yourself, self-respect. So you don't care about the opinions of other people. You'll listen to the opinions of other people. You always will be a good listener, and you'll listen to the opinions of other people, but you won't be defined or value those opinions more than your own. I'm not saying be conceited. I'm saying that when you will trust yourself and your opinions and not be easily influenced. So you will speak and you will say. The throat chakra is where you get your voice, where you speak your truth, where you have the enthusiasm and the passion to do the things you want to do, and you don't care what anybody else thinks. That's one of the biggest problems in our society, and very few people make it to this chakra, because everybody's worried about what everybody else thinks. Shame controls people. Shame controls people so much, and there are so many different kinds of shames. It is very complex. And most people have no idea how shame controls their life. People put makeup on every day, and that's shame. You're ashamed of yourself because you're putting something on to cover yourself up so you think you look better. You don't need it, because you're worried about the opinions of other people instead of worried about your own opinion and why you do the things you do. Taking a closer look at yourself and why you do the things you do. People who spend 2 or 3 hours in the mirror getting ready before they leave the house, they're not living their life for themselves. They're living it for everybody else that is going to see them. I'm not saying don't care about the way you look, but there is a point where you cross the line. And having there's nothing wrong with these things. It's just the way it is. If you own 27 pairs of shoes and you're that materialistic about the things that you wear, then you're being too concerned with what other people think. Materialistic people get stuck here. They can never find their voice because someone else is always speaking for them. So that is the throat chakra. The next one is the next milestone, where once you open this, now you will not go back, just like I said about the heart chakra. But the distance between the heart chakra, then you go to the throat chakra, then you go to the third eye chakra, forehead chakra. The distance between the heart chakra and the pineal gland chakra is a long way, because most people are getting stuck down here. They never find their voice. You've got to find your voice, find your love, find your inner self-respect, and all these emotions before you open the pineal gland. And when you open the pineal gland, now you've come to a milestone. I'm having technical difficulties, but I'm back. But once you get to the pineal gland, you've come to a milestone. This is a point when, for example, in the Kundalini, the Christos oil, which is represented by an oil that travels up the spine, crosses the vagus nerve, and hits the pineal gland of the brain. This creates a chemical reaction in your mind that opens up the frontal lobe of the brain and gives you a perception of the world. And that's what the third eye is, perception. It changes your perception of the world because now you understand your mind and your psyche and emotions so well that you can understand other people's. And when you see and understand and you have the empathy for other people and you can see why they're acting the way they are and you know them inside and out, it changes you. Because you can now see the energy that runs this world in human beings. You know where they're positive, who has positive energy, who has the negative energies. You can see relationships and you know ahead of time how these people are going to react just by their energy that they have. It gives you an insight into the world that blows your mind when you open that third eye. Very few people do. This is it's difficult because society doesn't want you there. They want you to obey and follow everybody else and turn on your TV every night and laugh at the sitcoms like everybody else. And that's a life, it's an existence. You may never see the hidden things that are there, the energies that are amongst us. You may never perceive the world, and that's fine. A lot of people live and die, and they never see anything beyond the throat chakra. And the last chakra is the crown chakra, which kind of like sits above the head, purple. And the chakra, that chakra is a spiritual chakra when you are at peace. You know, and it's bliss. Now, like the Hermetic principles teach us, everything has an opposite, and we live in a world of duality. And there are two kinds of bliss. And the bliss you get in the the highest chakra, the crown chakra, is spirituality, when you understand, when you've opened up all your chakras, and you're empowered, you have freedom. You love everybody. You have understanding for you. You have appreciation. You have gratefulness, joy. You have the knowledge, and you've learned about the secrets of life. And you can live blissfully. You're not worrying about death and all these primal fears that people have in the lower chakras. Now, there is also another bliss. We'll talk about bliss, this feeling of extreme contentment and happiness. There are two kinds. Life is a circle. And these chakras are a circle. And they meet at bliss. Someone who has the highest chakra open can be blissful. But there's two kinds of bliss. There's another bliss that resides in the lowest chakra, in the root chakra. And that's the ignorance is bliss. They're blissful because everything's taken care of for them. They have no responsibilities. They have no fear because they don't care. They're ignorant about everything. So ignorant, They have no worries, they have no care, they have no depression. Life is just careless, because ignorance is bliss. And it can be blissful if you don't have to worry about food or water or shelter or nothing, because everything is done for you. Now, there are people in this situation. People that inherit large sums of money could have everything they need just handed to them. So they can live in ignorant bliss. But the problem with that is when you live in ignorant bliss, you don't have all these other chakras open. All you have is the root chakra open. So when trauma comes in your life, or you lose someone you love, or death, or you get an illness, or any kind of trauma happens, it is completely devastating to those who are living in bliss that is ignorant. Where someone living in bliss in the other end of the spectrum, with the crown chakra open, they handle all trauma effortlessly, because they understand it and they're living without fear. Now, here's the thing. It is possible for someone who only has the root chakra, the lowest chakra, open, living in ignorant bliss, to have a trauma in their life and jump directly to the crown chakra. It's very traumatic to them, and eventually all of their chakras will be open, because all of it will come in, everything will be learned in a phase. This is where it links. This is where bliss links the top and bottom chakra. But it's very, very traumatic for the person who is in that lower emotional state. Because this is all just emotional states we're talking about. We can call them chakras, we can call them emotional states. Take your pick. But someone in that lowest chakra emotional state can find bliss because they've had it. They've already had the bliss and those feelings, but they were false. They were done without natural survival instincts coming into play. The emotions weren't worked out up the ladder like everybody else has to do. So they can jump to that state, and it can be traumatic. Some people actually can get schizophrenia and other psychotic mental illnesses making that jump. And some can make the jump and put it all together. Because when you're living, there's two perspectives in this world. Everything's dual, like I said. We live in a dualistic world. Everything has opposites, even minds. Everything has an opposite. And the world and the perspectives, there are two. There are two areas: stop and go, left and right, up and down. Even your emotions have opposites. And there's opposites of these chakras, the crown and the root, are opposites. And there's a path to connect them all. And that's what we have to understand that we need to explore our emotions, and we will open up the chakras. Now, that's an explanation into the emotions that are linked with each chakra. Emotional psyche. But the question was asked to me, how do we know what method for opening these is best for you? And it was a very good question, because I had to think about that, because there are different methods. If you look, meditation is really good, and I'll tell you why in a moment, for it. But some people have mantras, and there's all different kinds of things. But the best method is the one that you actually do. If you read about a bunch of methods and you don't use them and you don't do them, and then they're no good. The one that you actually do. And my recommendation, the best method, in my opinion, is life. Life is the best method to open up your chakras. The more you try to hide from life and be reserved from life, your chakras won't open. The more you go out and get life and experience life, and the more you do, and the more people you meet, and the more people you talk to, and the more you live life, the more of these chakras will open. Now, meditation is important because thoughts and emotions get built up in our minds throughout the day. We go to bed at night and we dream about them. Even though you're asleep, your mind is still working. That's what dreams are. And I'm going to do another video in the future on dreams because it's linked. The psychological ideas and emotions that you have throughout the day, you bring with you to bed at night. You wake up in the morning, and sometimes the very first thing you wake up and there's your worries right in front of you, right where you left them when you went to bed. That's why meditation is really, really important. Now, excuse me. When I say meditation, there are different ways to meditate. You can sit there and go Om, and with your legs crossed, and that works well because the vibrations of the Om help you remove thoughts. It's giving you something to do to remove the thoughts, because meditation is about removing these thoughts and emotions from your body daily. Because the ability to remove those thoughts and emotions from your body daily gives you control over them. Some people say, I can't meditate because I can't get the thoughts out of my mind. As soon as I sit there and start oming, I'm thinking about work, I'm thinking about the kids, I'm thinking about the car. That's the point. That's why they say you should meditate 30 minutes a day. And if you don't have the time to meditate 30 minutes a day, well, then you need to do it for an hour. Because you need to get away from all those thoughts. And it's important because if your emotions and the opinions of other people are controlling you and your emotions, then you're not controlling yourself. You've lost control of your emotions. They're your emotions. You control them. If you allow the outside world to control you, it will. And it'll run you into the grave with stress and anxiety and depression. If you allow it. To take control over yourself, you have to remove the opinions of other people, the thoughts and the worries and the fear. Because when you remove them, you realize that you can. And the worry doesn't have to be there. It's a choice. And once you understand that, well, now you start to be able to control your emotions, and you don't fly off the handle like an idiot with road rage over someone who is just lost in front of you. I mean, I see people enraged going to work in the morning, and I laugh, and I shouldn't laugh because they're suffering. But I understand. And healing, through spiritual healing, is real. I mean, you may see people on these people in the mega churches down house touching people on the head, and they go crazy, and suddenly they get up out of a wheelchair and jog around the room. If you believe that, good for you. But that's not what emotional and spiritual healing really is. It is real. But you're healing yourself by not allowing, for this, I'm explaining it. When you open these chakras, you have less stress. So right there, your health gets better. You want spiritual healing? Understand the chakras. meditate. Take a closer look at yourself and your emotions and pay attention to your emotions every day. How do I feel right now? Am I anxious? Am I depressed? Am I afraid of something? Am I worried? What am I thinking of? Be aware of these things and ask yourself why. And that's how we open the life lets us open these chakras and these emotional states. And men have a hard time, and that's why there's a lot of anger. I mean, most men are terrorists for a reason, and it's because they're stuck in their root chakra. They won't get out. They're stuck in the survival animal emotional mindset. We get out of that, the world become a more peaceful place. And I think that's all I want to say about that right now. They are important, and what works best for you is what you actually do. And one more thing about meditation, if you don't want to do meditation in that way, lay down. Be in a state of peace, not where you're going to sleep, and be quiet and remove the thoughts from your mind. Go for a walk in the woods. I walk in the woods every day. Why the woods? Because you're alone. There's not a lot of distractions and lights, and because like at a mall or out on the city street, there's things going on, there's sirens, it's hectic. In the woods, it's peaceful, and you can just walk and listen to the sounds of nature. These are vibrations that like going om. These are the kind of vibrations, the wind and the river and the birds, that are neutral. You know, birds don't tweet and the wind doesn't blow and you stop thinking about, it causes you to think about work. It doesn't do that. Or at least less likely than the phone ringing. So there are different ways. You find what works best for you to clear your mind daily. And that will help you when you can remove these emotions from your mind. You can put them back in and you have more control over them rather than these emotions controlling you. Thank you for watching. Please hit subscribe so you'll get new videos when I make new ones. And you have a great day. Till next time.